Thank you, Mark. Well, thank you all for taking the time to be here this morning. There's no better way to start our day than with Mass, of course. And I've had the pleasure of being here before, but never as the speaker. So it's great to be here and to see a lot of familiar faces. I recently did, of course, the Stations of the Cross. I see the leader who led our Stations of the Cross over at the Santiago Retreat Center. And that was so special on Good Friday. So again, thank you all for being here. And it sounds like you've had a great speaker series covering all things in civic life and the importance of government and why we should be involved in government. And when I was thinking about speaking today, I kind of looked for some inspiration because I don't know about you, but like many people, I think in society, we want to avoid government at all costs. We don't want to be engaged. But what is calling us? Why should we be engaged? And so looking for inspiration, I found that St. John Paul II wrote, "The lay faithful are never to relinquish their participation in public life. It is necessary that they become actively engaged in civil society, working to bring Christian values to the political, economic, and cultural affairs of the community." And gosh, I wish I had this quote from the very beginning of my life, but as Mark had said, kind of gave a little bit of a background. My goodness, never in my wildest dreams did I think that I would be doing this, having grown up here in Orange County. So like Mark mentioned, born and raised here in Orange County. As you can hear, my parents are here. Not my daughter, my mom. My parents are here. I was very blessed to not only grow up here, but grow up here in the Catholic faith. So I'm a parishioner at St. Martin de Porres Church, started out, as an altar server, went on to be a confirmation teacher, was a camp counselor at Us in the Sun Day Camp, if you've heard of that, but was very blessed to have grown up as a Catholic here, having gone to St. Francis, and then, as you heard, going to Rosary. And I was very big in athletics. I love sports, and that pesky thing when you're applying for colleges, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? I was like, you know what? I really love sports. I think I would love to be a sports journalist, right? Reporting on the sidelines. Who doesn't like to do that? Who doesn't like to watch sports? Thought it would be so cool. So I went to what I thought was the perfect place for that, USC, and got to do that for a little bit. Reported on the sidelines for the football team, for the basketball team. Thought it was a lot of fun, very, very cool. But I thought, you know what? I better not just pigeonhole myself in just sports journalism. Why not broaden my horizons to some other kind of journalism? And so I was going to go intern for C-SPAN. You've heard of it, right? The boring government channel. Okay. So I was going to go intern for C-SPAN in Washington, D.C., and that internship fell through. And this was one of many God moments that you don't realize at the time, but later on, God reveals to you that that was Him working. Of course, I was devastated. Truly devastated. I was like, what am I going to do? My bags are packed. But obviously God had a plan. And I ended up finding an internship with a bipartisan nonprofit that was trying to get members of Congress to work together up there. Believe it or not, somebody's up there trying to do that. And we worked on common sense legislation. Most notably, no budget, no pay. If Congress doesn't pass a budget, they shouldn't get paid. But worked on common sense legislation. We had 80 members of Congress who were signed on at the time. And I thought we were doing a ton of great work. But then the government shut down. This was in 2013 over healthcare, if you remember it. And so I like to say I saw government gridlock at its absolute finest and realized when I had come back from that internship that kind of gridlock can happen on the local level too, local level of government. My hometown, Yorba Linda, came back to it and found out we were in the midst of a recall of our city council. Also found out that wasn't uncommon for our city. We had had a number of potential recall after potential recall of our city council. And so I saw that same gridlock that happened in Washington, D.C. can happen on the local level of government here too. And so God had clearly shown me something and shown me where He wanted me to be, because I thought, why am I not looking at myself to be the change that I want to see in government? Because this is something that impacts every aspect of our lives, no matter what industry you're in, whether it's education or real estate, whatever your industry is, it impacts your life, the decisions that government is making. And especially on the local level where I'm on the city council, or you heard that my day job, I work for the county of of Orange, working as Chief of Staff to Supervisor Don Wagner. It's also another form of local government. And this is your everyday things. This is your roads. This is your police officers. These are your firefighters. And here, these important decisions are getting made either with us or without us, right? And so I think it's important for us as Catholics, as people of faith, to be involved, because really what this is service to others. God calls us to serve others in every aspect of our lives. And so even as I think lay faithful, lay people, it's our job to serve others in these spaces, because again, this is public service. And so, like I said, I came back and got involved very much so because first served on a city commission, the Parks and Recreation Commission. Anyone ever seen the show Parks and Rec? Very Leslie Knope of me, yes. That's a very good show to describe local government. But first served on the city commission, and then I decided to run for city council at the very old age of 23. And as you can imagine, of course, had to prove myself. I understand no one's expecting a city council member in their 20s. Totally understand that. But worked incredibly hard. Obviously sat in council meetings for over a year, door knocked in my community, and got very engaged. Proud to say I won that election. And then 2 years later, in 2018, my colleagues unanimously elected me the mayor of Yorba Linda, and I was 25 at the time, so I was the youngest female mayor in California history and in US history for a city of our size. So one thing leads to another, and all of a sudden you become mayor. They rope you in pretty quick. But what I'm most proud of is some of the changes and some of the things that I have been able to accomplish in that short time. Obviously, one of the big things that you obviously heard me talk about earlier is that our city had a number of recalls. And clearly there was a distrust of city government and government in general. So how do I rebuild that trust within the community, and how do I expand that opportunity for service to others? I brought to Yorba Linda what we call Love Yorba Linda. Have anyone heard of the Love Our Cities? Okay, the Love Our Cities campaign started in Montebello. And there was a number of North Orange County cities that were starting to do it. Love Fullerton. I was like, we should bring this to Yorba Linda. What it is a community-wide service day. So you have hundreds of volunteers come out and complete service projects across the city. I'm a big believer in you don't have to rely on government, and we shouldn't have to rely on government to do the work. If we see a problem, if we see an issue in our community, why aren't we rolling up our sleeves and being of service to others, addressing the needs in our community? So we brought that to Yorba Linda. Our first year, 2019, we had like 400 volunteers and completed 13 projects. We just completed, 2 weekends ago? Our 6th year had over nearly 1,000 volunteers complete over 40 projects. So it's something that continues to live on. Proud to say my parish is one of the many parishes that help support this great organization. And I think it's just living our faith in action by being of service and being engaged in civic life. Because when you're coming together as a community, now you're arm in arm with your neighbors, addressing the needs in your community and being a participant. Another thing that I did, and sometimes some of these things seem small, but I always remind myself of what Mother Teresa said, right? That maybe we can't do great things, but we can do small things with great love. And so I try to also remind ourselves that every small thing that we're doing is making a difference in today's world. So I don't know about you, but I feel like our next generation is continually growing up with this disdain for government, right? I always jokingly say, sorry, Dad, I grew up with my dad yelling at the politicians on the TV. We're all guilty of that, though, right? We're angry. And I just don't want our next generation to grow up with this disdain for government and feeling like there's this disconnect that they can't be engaged and involved with. So I created a program for high school students to learn about local government. I call it the Young Civic Leaders Academy. I don't know about you. I never learned about local government in high school. You maybe learned about federal government, maybe state, never ever talked about local government. And so I wanted to have this opportunity for high school students to come and learn, demystify City Hall. So for an hour and a half after school, they come by every week learning about a different aspect of city government. First week, they're learning about the budget. Where do we get our money? It's from the taxpayers, right? How would you decide where to use that money? They learn from touring the Yorba Linda Water District. How do we get clean, safe, reliable water, not taking for granted when we turn on the faucet, that clean, safe, reliable water comes out? Another week, they toured the business community. What does it take to run a business? Why is that so important to a city? Why is it important to have a strong local economy? Then they also learn about parks and planning, and all of it culminates on that 6th week in a mock city council meeting where they get to get up and sit at the dais and debate an issue. And I can't tell you how much these students have taken that and run with it. They have really then go on to shadow our city manager. One of our students started a program with our library reading to underprivileged children. Two brothers then met with that business leader after, started their own business plan and opened their own business while they were in high school. These students have just proved that once you give them the opportunity, they will take it and run with it and make you very proud. And hopefully it was showing them that they can be involved and engaged now in civil society. They don't have to wait till they're older in life to do that they can make a difference today. I saw so many of my current year students out at Love Yorba Linda, our citywide service day. And it just makes me so proud that there's positive ways to give back, right? It's not always just protesting and those kind of things. There's opportunities to be engaged and make a positive impact now. We started this in 2019. I've had now over 100 students go through the program, and I hope to have that continue on. But I think when you're also engaged in these roles, you can deal with very real intrinsic problems that are happening in our society. And one that's, I know, front of mind for many of us is homelessness. And so us being at the table when we're making these decisions is very, very critical if we want to see positive change in our local community. You probably remember, and this is why I'm very proud of what Yorba Linda's done on homelessness and North Orange County in general. You probably remember there was a court case out of Boise, Idaho, that had said you can't enforce your anti-camping ordinance without offering a shelter bed for somebody to go to. And in North Orange County, we knew that we want to be able to provide that helping hand up to those who need it, but also maintain our public spaces. And in Yorba Linda, we don't have as much of a homeless problem, but we know this is a regional issue, right? This is a regional issue that deserves a regional solution. And so we partnered with our 11 North Orange County cities to fund and operate 2 shelters, one in Placentia, one in Buena Park, to offer that helping hand up to those who need it. That was huge. It's really hard to get 5 city council members to agree on anything, let alone 11 city councils to agree that we're now going to fund and operate and provide that helping hand up to those who need it. Allowed us to maintain our public spaces, but also get these people into the help and services that they need. So again, when we're participating in these realms, we're able to address very real issues and make a positive impact. And maybe not everybody here, I'm not saying everybody needs to run for office. Maybe that's not your calling from God, but there's a responsibility of all of us to be active and engaged in this aspect, being good citizens. And so you know, you can, of course, run for office. I would highly encourage it because we do need good people in these spaces, because I don't know about you, but of course we read all the time where there's the bad people. And I try to use that as motivation to stay in it, because if we leave these spaces, we're leaving it to those people. Again, so this is government and politics. It either happens with you or to you, right? So we want to be engaged and active in those spaces so that we have people with the best intentions and the best values to make those decisions. But I encourage you to be involved, whether it's applying to serve on a commission. Like you heard, I served on a commission before I was on a council. There's various commissions in each of these cities, whether it's a water board, a school board, local government especially, or it's supporting good people in these roles, because there is support needed, or being active and engaged outside of the walls of our church. You know, we have obviously a strong Catholic community here in Orange County, and the churches are doing so much great work. And what I love to see is when we go beyond just our church walls and we're out and engaged in the community to help address the very real problems that we have. And the other opportunity I would really share is to serve on boards. So maybe you're very passionate about one issue in particular. I serve on a number of advisory boards or boards of nonprofits. For example, have you heard of Higher Ground in Anaheim? Started by a good friend, Joe Baldo, that's addressing not only human trafficking, but providing after-school programs for our youth, especially in Anaheim, to make sure that they have a positive future. So I'm on the board of that one. Or if you're passionate about military, I'm on the board of a nonprofit called For Families of Active Military. What are we doing to support the families of our military men and women who are abroad, but how do we support their families that are here? I'm on the board of Rosary Academy, still giving back to my local high school, my alma mater. But I'm also on the board of Bridges at Kramer Place, which is a homeless shelter in Anaheim. So maybe there's something that's incredibly impassionate for you, whether it's human trafficking, homelessness. There's so many regional boards that you can serve on to be active and engaged, to live out our faith and help make those positive differences and changes in our community. I've talked way too much. I also want to be able to answer any questions that anybody has that I can help answer. But again, thank you guys for taking the time to be here on this morning. It is such a pleasure to be with you and live out our faith together. So any questions that anybody has? Yeah.
This story is really inspiring. It's also a little bit ironic to my story in a sense. I applied for a White House internship this summer. It was for leadership skills, and I applied for a couple of departments. And I got an email last night saying I wasn't accepted. So it's kind of ironic. You're in government, local government.
Yeah.
So I guess your story is inspiring me to keep applying.
Yeah. Absolutely. Not only keep applying, but know that there's other opportunities even here locally. You know, whether, obviously I'm biased because I'm from local government, but at the county level or the city level, you can make a difference right now. I think some of us get discouraged because at the federal level, there's hundreds of members of Congress. To get something passed, to get something done can be daunting, and it could take years. That's why if you really do want to even make a change or make a difference today, you can do that even in local government. So don't shy away from even getting involved in some of those more local opportunities, maybe, but also keep applying. Absolutely. Yeah.
Yes. First of all, I want to say fight on.
Yes.
Class of 83 and class of 86.
Nice.
I was going to ask you two questions. One has to do with committees, city committees, and that is because I know with the Orange County Bar Association, we have a little strip on our website where it says join a committee. And I know at USC too, there are committees being formed all the time. But for alumni, right?
Yeah.
In cities, do they have a little something on websites where it says join the committee?
Yes.
And you can apply to join it.
Yes. So every city is different. They make government so complicated. You have to know city by city. But like I'll use my city, for example. We have 4 commissions: planning, parks, traffic, and library. Other cities has arts commissions. Some have veterans commissions. The county has a plethora of various commissions that you can get involved with. All of them are on their city website. We take applications every other year. Every city is different. You never know when an opportunity is going to arise. And so absolutely, I would encourage you to look on their websites, apply, put yourself out there, and just know, again, that these decisions are getting made. These commissions are being held. It's whether we're on them or participating in them.
Do people actively try to get on these, or do you have to kind of really market it to get people to volunteer their time to get on these commissions?
Both. There's some people who, of course, are actively wanting to be on a certain commission. And then, of course, there's the one time where we can't get anybody. So exactly. So don't shy away from applying, because you never know when God's timing is going to be for you to be serving on one of these commissions or committees. Yeah.
I just wanted to say congratulations. Your parents must be so proud.
I hope so.
I mean, I have a 6-year-old daughter, and we're praying every day that they go into someone like, a good citizen. And I think the program that you guys have in the City Hall, that involving these young people to be exposed to the government and the processes. Do you have any? I work in home care industry for older adults. Do you have any special programs for older adults in Yorba Linda?
We have, yes, we have a lot of programs for our older adults. In fact, our community center is heavily, pretty much senior activities. So we have full senior bulletin, a lot of great resources. even providing a lot of transportation. That's one of the best kept secrets in Yorba Linda. You can pretty much, as a senior, get free transportation going to and from. I think that's one of the other things with local government is there's so many resources out there that at times we don't do a great job of sharing those with the community and trying to meet those needs. But yes, plenty, from everything from bingo every Wednesday to transportation things, a lot of programming. So happy to connect you with those in Yorba Linda, but also every city has it. So I can help show you where to look for it to find out what resources in each city. Yeah. Other questions anybody might have? Yeah.
This is more of a comment, but yeah, congratulations. Orange County is awesome, and it seems like you've done a lot to help with that. I grew up in Santa Barbara, so pretty much anything south of me was just LA and San Diego.
Yeah.
Nothing else existed. But yeah, coming and living here in Orange County, like it's like this is Orange County. This like you can really tell the difference, and it's a special place, and there's a lot of love here, and so.
It is. We've been very, very blessed. Obviously, we're one of the safest large counties in California. I'm proud to say my city, Yorba Linda, we are consistently ranked in the top 10 safest cities in California. In fact, they just came out with the top 10 safest cities in California, 6 of which are in Orange County. So we very much pride ourselves on not only being a safe community, but I think Orange County is a very faith-filled community too, and I think that's lent itself to why Orange County is as great and as strong as it is, because there are people who are living out their faith beyond just their career or even just going to church. They're living out their faith through charitable giving or philanthropy or service to others, and so that's been very evident in Orange County, and we want to keep it that way. Yeah.
So, like, if a person were on a committee and then the committee came up with some idea or proposal, then would they forward that, like, to the city council and then?
Yeah, so a city commission or a committee usually is an advisory body, but they do make the decision and then it goes to city council. It's very rare for a city council to overturn, because again, the commission's made up of citizens itself that are vetting the issue and doing the deep dive into the issue. So it does get brought up to the council for a final vote. But the planning commission, a lot of times they're making final decisions. Planning commission usually deals with housing, land use, zoning, those kind of things. And a lot of times they're making the final decision. So these commissions and committees are very powerful. And they do make a difference. And I do encourage people to get involved in them, because if you're not wanting to be more of the public eye, this is a great way to be involved and engaged and be part of that decision-making process. Yeah.
What are some of the challenges you face as a person of faith, person of Catholic faith, when you have to, right, deal with people that might have an opposing view or some ideas that you really don't, as in your conscience, you see maybe not right?
Yep. Obviously, all the time. You're constantly having to, I think how you tackle it is obviously listening to everybody, right? You have to listen to all the opposing viewpoints. We might not always agree, but we can respectfully move forward in a direction. I find it to be very important that you articulate why you're supporting one way or the other. And I've found that once you're able to hopefully treat it that way, listen to people, hear out their concerns, but then articulate to them, this is why I'm going this direction. This is why I feel like it's the best course for our community. You can move forward in a respectful way. There's been many times or examples where I could give of that, from everything as simple as some of these smaller decisions where you think, this can't be controversial. There's so many times we're like, oh, it's right or wrong. And sometimes there isn't that cut and dry of an issue. But I think hopefully living out our values of hearing everybody out and reflecting on that decision and being wholehearted in how you articulate to others how you feel and being able to move forward in a positive way. Yeah.
How much pushback can you give to the state governments? I mean, because obviously in the same vein, you have these issues that come up, and if you're in, Huntington Beach or, a very conservative area, and you have to push back on some of these policies, how can you do that?
Great question. And like I jokingly said, how much time do you have? I think that's probably one of the hardest issues that we have with local government is the state mandates and the relationship that we have with the state, because we don't always agree with what the state is doing or pushing down on us, and oftentimes pushing down on us in either with unfunded mandates or just disagree with how our communities should be functioning. It is a constant kind of dance of where do we push back and where do we try to make sure we are in control and making the best decision for our community. A great example of that is we recently had the housing mandates that came down from the state, where they essentially gave every city a number of housing units that they need to meet, they need to zone for. We as a city or as a county, we don't build housing, but we zone for it. And so when they gave us these numbers that at times were unrealistic, what do? They're threatening to take away all our ability to zone for and plan for our community. So do we want to maintain our local control? And so I'm really proud of our city. We worked with our residents. In Yorba Linda, we have ballot box zoning, meaning the voters decide any zoning of higher density housing. But we worked with our residents, literally created a committee of people from opposing viewpoints. So this could have got really out of hand, but our community came together, kind of duked it out amongst ourselves, what's the best course of action for Yorba Linda, and we're able to come up with a plan that got 90% voter approval at the ballot box, which is unheard of on something like this. So I'm very, very proud of what our city was able to accomplish on that so that we can maintain local control. I trust our local community to make that decision, less so Sacramento to make that decision for our community, but it's constantly, because Sacramento is doing like 2,000 bills every year. They're coming up with I'm like, where do they come up with this? How do you have this? Either I'm like, you don't have to create that many bills, right? So it's constant. They're constantly coming up with bills, and we try to voice our concerns. We work with neighboring cities to voice our concerns, to try to maintain local control, because I think the government that's closest to the people is the one that functions best when it is closest to the people. So local government, local control is what I believe. And it's a constant battle with the state. And you try to find that balance.
From your experience, what are three reasons that local government is can do better than the government, like help people?
Yeah, I could fix a problem like right now. Like if you told me there was a pothole on somebody's street, I could call somebody right now and have it fixed by the end of the day. That's how fast local government can be. When it's functioning properly and you can make sure you have the resources and staff in your well-run city that you can do that. I love that about local government. Harder to do that with Congress, right? Harder to call somebody at the federal or state level and get a problem fixed that day. So I think that very much so. We're also the most accessible to the people, right? So we have, people know where to find us. We can't hide, right? We have a council chambers in the community. People can come and access us really anytime. I'm running into people at the grocery store. Your local government is more accessible to you. And you're, in turn, then hearing the issues that they have and being able to address them quickly. So I think when your local government is able to address issues that are unique to a community in a more faster and efficient way.
Does the city government have like very much or any influence over like school district?
Separate. We do work together on like some things like joint use facilities, whether that's parks or gymnasiums or something like that. But for the most part, school board, you have a separately elected school board, and at times in like Yorba Linda, we have a separately elected water board. So we have a lot of different levels of government, and that we all have to pay attention to because they're making different decisions for us. But yeah, we're pretty much separated. Other questions that anybody had?
Tara, you're in a unique position. You serve on a city council.
Yes.
You are the chief of staff. You're a county official.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about the intersection between city and county and how they interact together?
Yeah. So county government is still considered a form of local government because there are parts of, first and foremost, unincorporated Orange County. So if you live in Silverado or the Canyons or North Tustin or parts of Orange Park Acres, Ladera Ranch, Coda de Caza, Midway City, I probably can name all the little different parts of Orange County that are unincorporated, meaning the county is their local government. They don't have a mayor, they don't have a city council, the county is. So for Supervisor Wagner, who I am chief of staff for, he is pretty much like the mayor of the Canyons or mayor of North Tustin. And so you are still addressing land use issues, everything that a local government would. But at the county level, you're dealing with very big regional issues. They oversee the sheriff's department, the jails. They oversee the district attorney's office. They oversee things like animal care, right, or animal shelter. They oversee things like serving on Orange County Transportation Authority, so regional transportation. So if you had to take the 55 or the 57 or the 91, making sure we have fully flowing traffic as much as possible to address our growing traffic issues here in the county. But also very important, social services agencies. That's what the county oversees. Healthcare agency. Obviously during the pandemic, counties became a major focus because they were the healthcare agency, and so they were really dictating what was open, what was not, what were the restrictions, those kinds of things. So the county very much so, as much as it's still local government, Orange County is the 6th largest county in the country. Over 3 million people live here. It's huge. It's a $9 billion budget. So it's a very, if you like to be involved in kind of more macro issues or bigger regional issues, the county is a great example of, I think, the opportunity to do that because it's making big decisions that impact not just our county, but I think regionally as well. But there is a lot of interaction too with the cities. For example, the county oversees our landfills, waste and recycling. The trash goes somewhere, right? We know somebody picks up our trash and then it goes somewhere. But we have an agreement with the Orange County Waste and Recycling as a city for where that gets disposed of. Or we have an agreement with the animal shelter because we as a city, somebody goes and finds your dog when it's lost, right? Or there's a wild animal, animal care comes out and helps. So there's a lot of times where we work together. Another good example is homelessness. Again, it's a regional issue, right? It's just, say Yorba Linda addressed homelessness. Who's to say that somebody doesn't go over to Placentia? These people, no one knows these city borders. Only really the cities know the city borders. And so something that impacts Placentia or Anaheim impacts Yorba Linda and impacts us regionally. So the county's really taken a big leadership role in trying to address homelessness, offering shelter capacity, then transitional housing. But all of these, we function together. We have to work together. So there's a lot of opportunities where we do work together. But there's also the county, again, big leader dealing with very big issues, whether it's social services, healthcare agencies, sheriffs, DA, you name it. Yeah.
I'm curious about the relationship between Orange County and Los Angeles County, especially in regards to homelessness, because I noticed a lot of homeless in LA, and then it's like, as soon as I cross the border, I don't know where the border is, but I know.
See, people don't know, yeah. Yeah, the orange curtain, yeah.
And so I'm just wondering,
yeah.
how does that happen?
Yeah, well, these issues don't know county borders or city borders, right? So we do what's called a point-in-time count. If you haven't participated in it, I would really encourage you to. So the point-in-time count is every other year. It's regulated by HUD, which is federal government, that we go out and physically count the homeless. That's how we get our number of how many homeless are here in Orange County or LA County. And we physically go out and we survey those people. So I've volunteered the past 2 times that we've done it, and it's a very eye-opening opportunity to get to engage with the homeless, be able to provide them with services. But that's how we get our number. And part of those survey questions is, what was kind of your story? How did you get here, right? Whether you're from LA County, whether you're from Orange County, what was your known last job? Are you a veteran? Asking those questions so that we can better address that person's needs. I think homelessness is obviously one of those complex issues that everyone became homeless in a different way, and everyone's going to get out of homelessness in a different way. And so we're trying to do a better job of addressing all the different aspects that somebody might have fallen into homelessness, and hopefully addressing that to be able to get them out of homelessness. With something like LA, are these people coming from LA? A lot of the most recent, and this is all data you can find on the county's website, but our most recent point in time count, a lot of the homeless have Orange County origins. Whether they went to school here, their last job was here, they have family here, their good majority do come from Orange County. So it's not just, all of LA County's coming in.
When you're doing the point
Yeah.
time and you're looking at what high school they went to, a lot of them from Monterey.
I didn't say that.
That was for Principal Lynch.
She liked it, yeah.
Hey, you know, I'm an older guy,
Yeah.
but for some reason, you do a really good job with the digital media.
Oh, thank
talking
you.
about what you do. If I had one of these devices and I was in the room, how might I find you on the digital media?
Thank you, yeah.
What are your platforms?
Yeah, you can follow me at Tara P. Campbell, either on Instagram or X, or Tara Campbell Yorba Linda on Facebook, trying to get the word out on either very important issues, like posting. I'm on also the Orange County Fire Authority, dealing with regional fire issues, but trying to get the word out on what's going on, and also sharing a lot of good news. There's a lot of bad news out there, so trying to show the positive sides of what's going on. So you can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, X, or LinkedIn. On all of those platforms.
Now, I know that sometimes, Mr. Padilla, I'm looking at the students and they've got their phones out at opportune times, but I'm looking around, I don't see too many phones out amongst our students right now. You all have phones, I'm assuming, and you have platforms that cover at least, what was it, X?
Which is formerly Twitter, yeah. Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Tara P. Campbell, yeah.
Okay, Tara P. Campbell, so I'm not saying that I'm gonna be checking up, but you might wanna go like and follow.
Yeah.
I think of the terminology.
I'm only on MySpace.
MySpace?
You're on MySpace? Is that still around? Man, yeah. I know. They might not know what MySpace
Once
is.
you're
Yeah.
on one of those platforms, will they learn more about your future political aspirations and what those might be?
Yes, they can. They can learn about those as well as following just what's going on in regional government. Again, I think it's important that we're all staying abreast of what's happening, because if you're not paying attention, one of my colleagues had a good saying: if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. And very much so, I steal that from him, because very much so the case. And if we're not engaged, if we don't know what's happening, it's still going to happen with or without us. So very important. Thank you, Mark. Hopefully to follow me, because I do post about a lot of regional things, and know that if it's happening just to one city, it's probably happening to all our cities, and it's something that we can have an active and engaged role in. So, yeah.
So you're involved in the city and county.
Yes.
When are you going to state?
I'm not going to state. I am running for Orange County Supervisor. So Supervisor Wagner's termed out in 2028. He has kindly endorsed me for his seat. So I will be running for his seat. And again, the County Board of Supervisors makes decisions for all of Orange County. So as much as you serve one district, you're making decisions for the whole county.
So if you're going to be running for county supervisor seat, 1 of 5?
1 of 5.
You're going to need some support in terms of people that can help get that word out.
Yes.
And they might be able to do that using which platforms?
Facebook, Instagram, X, LinkedIn, yes.
Great, and you can not only help advance that awareness, but
Yes.
then if there's anybody that wants to financially support the campaign, how do they do that?
They can contact me on any of those platforms or my email. Be obviously honored to have more support, and it's sharing with your neighbors, it's sharing with your friends and family, because there's so many people. As you heard, 3 million people in Orange County, and each district's over 600,000 people. So telling as many people would be greatly, obviously, appreciated. Thank you, guys.
Other questions for Carl?
Yeah.
It seems like you're doing like 100 times more things than I'm doing. I'm not sure how you do it all.
You make it work. You try to be of service to others, and I try to treat it as, what would I want out of either my mayor, what would I want out of my city council member, what would I want out of my elected official? And you want to be present, you want to be out and about and talking to people, because I find that to be the best way to hear the concerns and hear the issues that they have. There's a number of people in this room who I would either have engaged with at some point on some various issue, and it's obviously being active and engaged and out there and present that I find to be the best way to engage with the community. But you make it work. You're probably doing a lot. You're not giving yourself enough credit.
You know, we've talked a lot about government. We have a few minutes left. Let me go back to the faith aspect of
Yeah.
it. Talk about your formation and how it's gotten you to where this is. You're engaged to be married?
Yes.
So how does take me kind of through the steps of your actual faith journey?
Yeah, and I am not shy to say that I think there was so many God moments that I didn't realize till I was really in my early 20s that I really realized that as much as I'm so grateful to have grown up in the Catholic faith, again, serving as an altar server, doing all my sacraments at St. Martin de Porres, but there's so many moments that God intervened, and I don't think if I had that strong relationship with God and that foundation that I could acknowledge that He has always guided me. I always say you plan and God laughs, right? Because He has a plan for you. And thankfully, because I had that strong foundation of my faith, I was able to realize and trust in Him and build on that relationship with Him. As Mark mentioned, I'm getting married in November. We, in fact, just had our first marriage prep class last night down in Newport. He grew up in Anaheim Hills. He went to St. Norbert's, and then he went to Mater Dei. So I won't tell him about the Mater Dei joke you made earlier, Mark.
Say that for when I need him.
Exactly, there you go. I think for us, both having grown up in a similar faith, similar upbringing, having that strong foundation going into our marriage is only going to make us stronger and build on that faith and trust in God. So very, very grateful to have had that relationship with God and His guidance throughout my life.
And then, again, that intersection between faith and the government work. In terms of city, we've got St. Martin de Porres there in Yorba Linda. We've got St. Francis of Assisi up there. In the county, we've obviously got the diocese. How does the government, particularly those non-Catholic government participants, interact or view the parishes, the churches, the dynamism of the Catholic faith, whether it's a school or a hospital or parish?
Yeah. Well, funny enough, in 2019, when I was mayor, the first time I visited every place of worship in Yorba Linda. We actually have 3 Catholic churches alone in Yorba Linda, but beyond that, we have probably a different type of place of worship on every corner of Yorba Linda. Fun fact, we have more places of worship per capita than any other city in Orange County, and I think that that's a very unique fact to be proud of because, like I said, Orange County is a very faith-filled community, and I think it's what's lent itself to being the great county that it is today because people are out there and serving their community. So here I am a strong Catholic, but out there engaging with every different place of worship in our community and trying to show through action, service and appreciation of others and understanding as well. And I can't tell you how many people truly love that experience because here I was as a government official. There's a lot of people who try to shy away as government from engaging with people of faith. But here I was not only engaging with them, but sitting through one of their services, understanding their faith. And it was also a way to show the diversity of our county and our city at the time. And so trying to show through my faith that you as a person in government can be in those places, being engaged with people, living out your values and showing that through action. Any final
questions? Round of applause for our
Thank you.